Hello, hello, welcome in. If you're here listening to this podcast, that means you are destined for something great, and we both know it to be true. So without further ado, welcome to the Dark Matter Podcast. Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Dark Matter Podcast, a space for conscious creators. Today, I brought on another guest in Patrick Kamba. Patrick is an executive leader in the pharmaceutical industry, author of Quiet Ambition, and mentor who's passionate about purposeful, balanced growth. With an engineering background and an MBA from the University of Liverpool, he's led global teams in vaccine development and trained hundreds of project managers. A single father of three daughters, Patrick helps professionals replace hustle and self-doubt with clarity and calm confidence, showing that true ambition isn't about being louder, but about leading with intention, awareness, and authenticity. I'm so excited for this conversation with you, Patrick, and of course, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure.
So I want to stick in here. Why is it so? I like to start with the why. Why is it so much of a passion for you to really help, you know, replace that hustle and the self-doubt with clarity and calm confidence? What does that mean to you?
So it's a passion for me at first because I lived it, and I would even say I lived it badly because I was more, a performer, and that is also the way I was introducing myself. I was used to say, "My name is Patrick Camba, and I am a performer." Wow, look at me.
Right.
Okay, so around 15 years ago, I was project manager. I was targeting to be promoted to be senior project manager. I was ticking all the boxes, but then the promotion did not come. Now I started to be, frustrated, disappointed, started to complain all over the place that, okay, that's unfair. Why am I not promoted? And I started also to see other people going to human resource to lobby, to discuss and complain about why don't they get big bonus, with overperformance, overachievement. Then I started to feel that it wasn't fully right to me because I said, look at those people. They start to go to HR asking for urgent meeting, complaining. And I said, I don't want to be like this. No, no, please. So I stepped back. And to be clear, I still went to HR, but to understand, not to lobby. What's the process? What is missing for me to be promoted? What's going on? What should I do maybe differently? And then start to ask and listen. And actually, people explained. And that's the first magic. If you come with, let's say, good intention, meaning you want to understand what's going on, not challenge what's going on, people talk to you. And people even tell you the secrets on what's happening. Then I discovered that there might be another way to get promoted, to be validated, recognized, and etc. And several years ago, as I started to understand the value of doing this, I built on it. I used it several times, and it led me to be in a very big company, PPD, executive director, while initially I applied to be a senior director. All of this made me actually write a book. And I like to say, I wish I knew this, or a young Patrick gave me this book 10, 15 years ago. That's how it came.
So I love this, right? And it's such a key, and I want to really just, make sure that people don't skip that. The idea of asking questions to understand, not to challenge or not to, put someone on the other side. Just really try to understand, what you can do or what is going on, or from their own point of view, what it is. And far too often, a lot of conflict, I feel like conflict really stems from a misunderstanding, right? And if people are on the same page and it's clearly communicated, then I feel like we would have a lot less conflict because people really want to help other people. They don't really want to hurt or,
Yes.
be malicious. And so if you really come from that, place of understanding, I feel like you really could, bridge a lot of those relationships and really be more progressive. Now, you mentioned in here the book, quiet ambition. You mentioned that this is a book you wish you were able to give or receive as a younger Patrick. What in the book really makes you feel like at a younger age you would have been able to? I guess the first question is, if you got the book from a younger age, what would it have done for you?
Okay. At first, it would have helped me to start by, I like to call it the point zero, meaning start by yourself,
Mm,
explore yourself. What do you want? Because, yes, I mean, I was project manager, wanted to be senior project manager. It's just my ego. Don't look for anything great and etc. No, no, no. It's just my ego because I wanted to be senior project manager and I wanted one day to be a director in a pharma vaccine company. That was my ego. So by exploring this, actually, I started to put my ego outside once I was, promoted from project manager to senior project manager and said, one day it would be great to have a team that I can share my values, make them progress, grow, etc. And then it's not the same because, again, at a certain moment, there were some changes. I've been promoted director of project management, but
mm,
it was going with the flow. I didn't have to push thousands of CVs, do lobby, etc. People felt that I was intentional with what I was doing. I was there to set up processes as project manager, contribute to the development of the others. And yes, Patrick is known for people management. And just let it go, more or less relaxed. And that is what my book is talking about. From the first pages and chapters, it's about exercises, discovering who you are, what do you want, asking you basic questions. Who are the role model or the people you admire? Not on TV, but in your day to day.
mm,
And by doing this, you can approach maybe those people and ask, okay, I like what you're doing. What happened? And then you start to build even alliances.
mm.
You ask help for mentors and you broaden your network.
Right. So from what I hear there, it's kind of just understanding that the ego is not your amigo, right? Your ego is kind of what's there to it kind of helps, but it also can be to your own detriment because maybe we chase the titles or we chase the income, but it doesn't really fulfill you internally. Would you agree with that? Like your ego kind of helps in
Yes.
some ways, or do you think your ego doesn't help at all? Like for people that are wrestling with that, because I know that this is a common thing right now. If there's a lot of coaches or business owners, I know a lot of my audience are either aspiring or thriving coaches, and a lot of people are really aiming to hit these $100,000 months or generate, millions of dollars with their business. They're usually chasing that thing. Is it that ego, or is it coming from a place of fulfillment?
Ego is one of my best enemies, really, because I like to say that I don't have any ego. Of course, that's not true. I cannot say it's a zero. But as an engineer, I like scales. So I
Mm,
would say my ego is more at 30 than 90 if the scale is 100 as the maximum. But what I mean here is that a bit of ego is fine. But when your ego is driving you, you are becoming vulnerable
mm,
because then you will be in conversation where you have to prove, demonstrate, and then at the end you give the power to the others because they will tell you, yeah, but if you can demonstrate this, you will get XYZ.
mm,
And then actually you are a slave, I'm sorry. And what I'm looking for is freedom. So as a coach, I explain to my coaches and mentees, what do you want to do and why? Because I totally understand. Some people may want to be at 100K per month or a big vice president, etc. Because of what? Because of family, society, because maybe there have been migrants and they would be the first to be at that level, okay, or just for to satisfy them. That is fine. That's first. But then what is behind? Because if they reach this objective, would they set up a new objective?
mm,
If the answer is yes, it means that this 100K is not the real objective. There's
right.
something else.
Mm,
And that is where also I'm surprising some of my people when I say my objectives, I reached them out 10 years ago, being a director in a pharma company. It's done. I am beyond this. Now I'm relaxed and I'm enjoying and I'm still progressing. Now I am executive director, still
mm,
progressing, but differently because I enjoy. Because at the end, we should not forget we have to enjoy our lives.
mm. So This is a good question. I feel like based on what you're saying here, this is a good question. How can leaders cultivate calm confidence and purpose in a world that, rewards loud ambition, rewards the ego, rewards proven and, tactics and strategies and all of this? Like, how can you really cultivate that?
Yeah, so again, it's about starting by themselves,
Hmm.
in the sense that if they enter the room or the meeting room, they should not target to be the loudest, having all the answers, and being able to show how great they are. That's the common misconception of leaders, actually. They
Hmm.
may even sometimes to just shut up and let people talk to each other and find them a solution by themselves. That is what I like to do from time to time. And actually, it's not coming from me. I have a former senior vice president at GSK who explained one day that the best way to support your team is just sometimes to step back and
Hmm.
let them move forward. Even if there are no copyright, it's not me.
Well, I love that because so often, when people are looking for answers outside of themselves and then they get the answer, it's not really, it's kind of like, the idea and the story that what's more important, the start and the end or the journey, right? And I feel like when you just give people the answers, it negates the internal realizations in the aha moments that they need to go through in order to really understand how to fix it and then what to move forward with it, right? So I love this and I want to ask one more question based on this too because okay, so it's one thing to, come from within and start at zero and not be that person. But what if you have been that person? What if that is what you know? I mean, it doesn't feel great, but this is what they're really wrestling with. They see it, they feel it, they work themselves up. A couple of people on the podcast, and I've been even getting reached out to from people on the podcast, and they say, they've got the great job, they've got the nice dreamy office, they have, the nice salary that they've wanted, but they don't feel good, and it's always driven by that ego. And now trying to come away from it, it almost feels like they're digressing. So, what would you say to someone that feels like if they stop acting that way? Then they're gonna lose everything that they built.
So then one of my other big connection is, of course, fear,
Hmm.
because at the end, that is what it is. And that's why some people may decide to not change job or to not even take 1 week retreat to think about their life and their career, etc., because there is this pressure of if I stop now, what will be my life? What about my family? I'm used to earn 100K per month. Now, if I get 60, how will I make it? Like, actually, you can make it. Remember, you were not born with 100K per month. As a reminder. And then at the end, what do you want? Do you want this or then go to a shrink and or whatever function, whatever role to just discuss 1 hour a week how unhappy you are?
Hmm.
Let me tell you a very personal stories that happened actually not to me but to my father around, let's say, 30 years ago. He was at the hospital, he was sick, he had a replacement as a general practitioner, okay? And after 1 week, this guy was leaving because my father was expected to come back to his practice the week after. I
Hmm.
said, "Oh, thank you for everything. Thank you for this week. Thank you for this job, taking care of the patient, etc." "Oh, yeah, yeah, thank you. You're welcome. But, being a doctor was not my purpose." What? What? No, my father forced me to do it because he was an MD too.
Wow.
Then it was a shock to me because it was around 2021. Like, come on, he's an MD. He's not happy to be an MD. I mean, everybody would like to be a doctor. You know what I mean? It's a
Right.
dream job, this kind of thing. I mean, pilot of aircraft,
Right.
doctor, this kind of job. I mean, everybody dreams about it at certain moments. And then I understood that he was not happy. So do we really want to spend 60, 70, 80 years on Earth not being happy?
Hmm.
I'm sorry. Maybe because those people have 100K per month, they may have even more the luxury to say, let's pause, let's reorientate our lives. Maybe let's invest some money to be sure that during 6 months we don't have this money and we can do something else. But there are options. But
Right.
again, it's step by step. And when you're talking about stopping being in this behavior, I may rather say evolve
Hmm.
because we just take the time and it is fine if you don't put the pressure on stopping this behavior. transforming in one day to an extreme point. I like to say that babies, when they were born, they could not speak, they could not walk. And then people are shocked and say, yes, you say you can't change, come on. A baby can't talk, can walk. In 1 year, they can walk. In 2 years, they can speak.
Right.
So what's the problem? Do they see them giving up? No, they get angry because they cannot walk, because you don't understand them, but they never stop. They are the most resilient.
Right. So that kind of takes me to another point of this, and I'm really excited that the conversation is going in this direction because, again, your book that you just came out with, and I do want to speak a little bit more on that too, the quiet ambition piece. You mentioned the babies, and we know that a baby is the most impressionable from ages 0 to 7. You know, all of their beliefs, all their habits, all of their traits, their mannerisms come from all those around them, right? And so sometimes later on in life, when they end up in a position where they're not fulfilled, a lot of that can come from, the impressionable times, right? Where, again, they're looking at it. And even for me in my story, the folks that know my story, a lot of my relationships were very hit and miss because my parents were divorced and they always fought and there was cheating going on and these sorts of things. So then in my head, I always believed that that was going to be the case for all of my relationships. And then that was the case until I took a step back and I realized that I didn't have to live my life according to the thoughts and the way that things are, right? Because it's projection. That's kind of what it feels like. It's projection, right? So how would you help someone really understand that maybe what they're going through, like you kind of mentioned here, starting from zero, you also mentioned the fear-based, thinking, but how would you really get through to someone that maybe doesn't see those pieces as such influential pieces to their current situation, their current life, their current role, etc.?
So one point I talk about also in my book is the role of mentorship and networking.
Hmm.
Because I like to say, as good as we are not exceptional in the sense that there are other people like us on earth and probably around us, meaning that they may have gone through the same struggle maybe 2 years ago, or they are much more advanced than us. So sometimes just taking the time to recognize those people and
Hmm.
just talk to them, and yes, being vulnerable, asking for help, and building alliances. We underestimate the power of alliances and network,
Hmm.
but again, not network to have a list of people you can call and that you will just exploit and use,
Hmm.
is building relationship, and maybe one day you will need them, and they may need you before, by the way.
Right.
And it's about just giving them when they need you, about reviewing your CV, introducing you to people, etc.
Hmm.
And maybe one day they will help you. But of course, you have to ask them and help them with your heart. Just being intentional. You just help them. Because I discovered the power of my network only during COVID, let's say. I lost my job in 40 minutes and I asked for help to a few people. They transformed my life.
Hmm.
And at the end, I had been building this network during like 10, 15 years earlier.
Hmm.
And I never thought that I would use my network one day, actually, because I just did it. And then I discovered that actually there are more people than you believe that are ready to help you. That's the big lesson of life, by the way.
Mm. Yes, it really is. And I love that you've mentioned that because again, it's what stops a lot of us from, reaching out. It's pride, it's ego, it's the fear, right? It's a lot of our own internal narratives that could stop us from, receiving. Even sometimes there's blocks from people even receiving, right? Like they don't even want to receive help and gifts and things like that. And so I love that you've suggested this and really brought to light that there are a lot of people that are ready to help you if you're willing to ask, right? And I feel like that's such a powerful thing. And you've mentioned here you've been building this audience. And when you're saying building an audience, just for people who may not understand, like what does that look like? Is that, going to conferences and, in connecting with people there? Is it joining like groups? And like what sort of things were you doing to build this network that ultimately ended up helping you transform your life?
So I would say the easiest, of course, is going to conferences and interact with people. And of course, making some follow-up. after the congresses. That's one. But it's also colleagues from the day to day while you are working. As simple as that. And it's about asking how they are doing. Maybe you will hear that, okay, my son had this and this. Yeah, no worries. I have an old bicycle. Maybe I can give it to you. It's stupid. I know. But on the opposite, when you are a father or mother and you have your son or your daughter who need a bicycle for tomorrow, that cannot be more important than this.
Right.
So just to give a basic example, another day is just offering a coffee to somebody and take 5 minutes to discuss about I don't know what. So it's about caring about the others,
Mm.
really thinking how they are doing. You see that specific people are a bit stressed. Okay, go and talk to them. I feel you are stressed. Do you want to have a 5 minute break? Oh no, I have too much. Okay, maybe next week we can go and have a drink. Or, very basic, end of the day, you send a text message. I felt you were stressed. I hope it is fine. Let me know if I can help you because it would be bad if I could not see you tomorrow because you are too tired. Okay, that's simple.
And it's such simple practical things, right? And anyone can apply them literally today. And I love that it's just so simple. Like it doesn't have to be this thing. There isn't a formula for it. Like it's just be a good human being and reach out to the person. Now here's a question to that because I know there are a lot of people that understand the law of reciprocity and giving and receiving and such. Now, at what point is it do you feel that you're just because I know some people, and this is a question that I kind of have in my head from before. What would you say to the person that has been giving for a long time? They've been giving for months, maybe even years, and they haven't really received yet in the way that we traditionally think about it, right? What would you say to that person who's kind of getting burnt out or tired or exhausted from just being that person for other people and not having someone care about them the way that they care about other people?
So there are several angles. First is that the assumption may be that if they give to ABCD people, ABCD people will give back. That's not
Mm,
true. You give in one direction, you may receive from another direction.
mm,
Because that if you give to somebody, this person has to give you back. No, no, no. To me, it's just a chain, okay?
mm,
Because the people who help me may not be the people that are helped the most.
mm,
Okay? But they are in the same mindset. They are just giving. That's one. The second is potentially maybe to filter the people to who they give without counting in a way.
right.
A few ways to say, I cannot help you now. I'm too busy. Can you call me back in 2 days or can you come back to me, etc. And see how people react. If they are
Mm,
disappointed, frustrated, etc., it means that it's for granted. So maybe indeed they should stop. Another way is those people to who they normally give, take 5 minutes to share good news.
mm,
This is my special weapon, this one. Share good news with people. If they react by yelling, shouting, screaming, big smile, opening eyes, oh, thank you, oh, that's great, what's happening to you? You are running a marathon in New York. You will go to Kenya for a safari. Those people are great. Keep them.
mm,
If they change the topic, or they say something like, yes, of course, you are divorced, you are part-time custody, you have the time to do this.
mm,
Oh, you have the answer. Okay? So that's a basic way, again, that people underestimate, like, how can I find alliances? How can I find people who will protect me and help me grow? By applying those basic examples, believe me, things should be clear, but
right.
they may be surprised.
So I love this, and this is such a fantastic answer. So you're saying one, the people that you give to may not be the people that you receive back from. So just keep that in mind and know that it's going to come from somewhere else. And I absolutely love that. Second thing, putting filters on. So just a little bit of resistance, just to see, if it's something they can solve or if they're going to be upset about it. And then the last thing, when you share good news with them, how they light up, or the opposite. Like these are really key things. Again, simple, but like really, really golden nuggets that someone could apply today in their life to really move things in the right direction. Patrick, this is incredible. I wanted to talk about one more thing here. Well, I know your book as well, so I want to ask a question on that. But I also see that you recently spoke at the Women Leaders Conference in Miami on strategic visibility for women. And this is where you explored how professionals can grow their impact without compromising authenticity. So, what are some of the things that you've really picked up from there, maybe that you mentioned in the speech as well, especially around like how self-awareness and balanced ambition can help, both just women and men lead with clarity and purpose?
So thank you. Yes, I really enjoyed being in Miami, by the way. It was my first week over there. It was in September. So indeed, women are sometimes expected to play by the rule they don't like to play or that is not aligned with them,
Hmm.
like showing off and hustle and etc. And on the opposite, being quiet and strategically visible doesn't mean you are silent, because
Hmm.
I insisted during this Congress. Quiet doesn't mean invisible, doesn't mean silent.
Hmm.
Consider rather this as whispering, okay? Some basic example again, if you are even introvert, you may not be comfortable talking during 30 minutes of the meeting. Fine. But then you have to be strategically visible. Maybe you speak beginning to open the conversation, to summarize why we are here. Or you wrap up, or you paraphrase, or you just decide to volunteer to take some of the actions at the end of the meeting.
Hmm.
What will happen? People will enjoy working with you because you can paraphrase, you can ask questions, you can identify a few risks and propose mitigation. That is how people will appreciate why you are not talking during 30 minutes
Right.
and not potentially take the microphone of, let's say, your boss or anybody. So it's about being strategic, being there at the right moment, and not being everywhere, anywhere, anytime.
Hmm. Yeah, I see again, these are gems, for the audience listening, for you guys listening. I hope you're taking notes on this one because I feel like there's just so many practical things that again, they can just shift, the perspective even just a little bit, and this can really change and the world can really open up for you. Opportunities can really open up for you here. So it's really just learning how to maybe play your own skill set and whether it's, summarizing it at the end, adding the actionable steps, like allowing people to play to their strengths and then finding your own strength quietly, not silent, not being invisible, not withering away and stepping back and, playing this card, but knowing how you can, add value to a situation without over exceeding. So I absolutely love this. And so I wanted to bring the book back up, Quiet Ambition. So who is this book for? And in reading it, I know I mentioned at the beginning, what would younger Patrick have received from it? But now, fast forwarding to today, who should get this book and what are they going to learn by going through the Quiet Ambition book that you've written?
So this book could be for any organization, in particular human resources department, for sure, because they may have to fuel with the new pipeline of leaders, preparing them. So that's way, of course. But then it's any professional who is ambitious. And to me, ambition is just this inner fire that is moving us forward. So you can be a secretary, you can be a sales representative, but you can also be an executive director, being ambitious because you just want to move forward. Moving forward may not automatically means more money. It can be just make a wall tower. Okay, you take your family, you disappear in 1 year. You want to travel all around the world. You may decide to enter big business schools. You may just decide to open a store in your street. Whatever, it's just ambition. Because at the end of the day, I like to say when you are ambitious, adversity comes.
Hmm.
Anyway, always, always, always. So it's to help you be prepared, actually. That's where this book is useful.
And they can find that on Amazon, or where can they go to get the
Yes,
book there from
Amazon.
you?
You can find them on Amazon.com. So in a paper version. And of course, I'm reachable via LinkedIn if they have any question, of course. And
Amazing.
I'm building now a website.
Oh,
Hopefully, it will be available around Christmas. I'm working on it.
amazing. And then, of course, so you have the book, and then, of course, I guess the last question for you here, Patrick, is where can people find you? I know you kind of mentioned LinkedIn. Is that the best place that people can find you, and if they want to reach out and learn more about what you're up to?
Yes. The easiest is via LinkedIn. And then you can send me a message when my website is alive and kicking. But we'll have to wait until I would say Christmas. And then I'm starting to travel, having some speaking engagements. So I'm planning to be in Germany in January, maybe in Paris. I have to check in March, London in June probably. So all around the world, I can be anywhere. And I hope to fly to Singapore, but for pleasure in
Uh-huh.
February.
Very nice. Well, Patrick, thank you so much for being here and, really sharing all these golden nuggets for people that want to tune in. Remember, guys, go to LinkedIn. So linkedin.com/in/Patrick, Patrick, last name Camba, Kamba. Reach out, let them know that you came from the Dark Matter podcast, and we're so happy that you did. So thank you so much for tuning in as always. All the links will be down below. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, comment, share, subscribe to it all. I appreciate it. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one.